broadcast table. And Josh Appel is live at Lone Depot Park getting you ready for the Marlins opener tonight. And I see on our video monitor here Jack McMullen, who is the radio voice for the Miami Marlins. And, of course, we're the radio home for the Miami Marlins.
Hey.
So he's part of our very dysfunctional family. Jack McMullen's on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Of course, you can hear Marlins games this year on WQAM. Tonight's opener will be on 5:60 a.m., and the pregame starts at 5:30. First pitch is 7:10. And, Jack, welcome to a very dysfunctional WQAM family.
I'm very happy to be in this very dysfunctional family. So thank you guys for having me. Before we get into anything, I do want to just read you the riot act food-wise because I saw the ketchup on the cheesesteak thing. I also saw in your bio on X that you're a Highland Park, Illinois native. I, too, am a Chicagoland area native, and it feels almost sacrilegious to put ketchup on that thing when you're not supposed to use ketchup at all in the city of Chicago. So what are we doing here?
I also put ketchup on hot dogs, which is why I had to leave Chicago.
Yeah,
they ran me out of the city. I'm going to give you guys, as long as you want to talk food here for one brief second, Jack, I'm going to give you guys, Crowder's going to lean over and smack me. I'm going to make a shocking, shameful admission. So we're at Gulfstream Park. We're in 10 Palms, and it's a beautiful restaurant. They have great food here, and they always bring us food. And there's a food radio show going on with Mike Mayo and Chris Perkins. And so during the commercial break, I went over there to steal some of their food because they just have it out on a table. And I took a wing. It was my second wing here. I had one before our show started.
Boneless or bone-in?
No, bone-in wing. The only
okay.
way that you can have a wing. It's a tender if it's not.
I don't think so.
Well, it is. So I have this wing at Gulfstream, and I'm like, man, these wings are really good. So I go back, I get a second one, and I go, these wings are really good. And I say to Mike Mayo, I'm like, man, these Gulfstream wings are really good. And he says, well, they're lemon pepper. I've never had a lemon pepper wing before in my life. And I knew.
Those are your first two lemon pepper of your life?
I don't really like lemon nor pepper. So I didn't think that I would like a lemon pepper wing. Those maybe were the two best wings that I've ever had, and it was because of the lemon and the pepper.
So you're not a Lou Williams guy? That's my take here?
I pretend that I am on the radio, and I'm a big Magic City guy, and but it's all a put on because I didn't think lemon pepper wings were for me. I thought they were more for Lou Williams, if you understand.
Me and Lou Williams?
Yeah, I didn't want to get too far into the weeds. That could be the best type of wing I've ever had.
That's ridiculous, Hawk.
Now I understand why Lou Williams loves Magic City. It really is the wings. Anyway, shocking admission. Jack McMullen is with us. How about that?
I got to ask me, bring from Chicago.
Yeah.
This is another one. This bean. Are you impressed by this big mirror bean?
How could you not be impressed by the bean?
What is the bean? Bean it does nothing.
You know what it was? It is every 15-year-old's like you have to make a trip to go take a selfie into that bean, right? It's just a huge mirror that gets really, really hot in the middle of the summertime. So it's not worth it for anybody. You know what it is?
It's dare you?
I mean, it's
how dare
Times
you diminish the
Square-ish.
bean?
Come on, it's Times Square-ish, is it not?
No, not at all. How dare you? I can't believe this guy.
Times Square has women with body paint on. This is a big bean.
I also happen to like ketchup on beans. No. So Jack McMullen will be the radio voice for the Marlins again this season. Again, you can hear the games here on WQAM. Can the Marlins surprise it all this season? Jack, they were kind of a surprise on the upside last season. You've got Sandy pitching tonight. We were talking earlier in the show. We love watching Sandy pitch. Yuri Perez, obviously, when he's been out there, has shown great stuff. I know Max Meyer.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast is brought to you by Geico. Switch and save. Get more with Geico.
Norby hammers high in the sky, out to left, no doubt about it. And that was a no-doubt bomb for Norby.
Miami Marlins baseball is on deck. The official pregame show of the Miami Marlins on the home of the Marlins, WQAM.
Augustine Ramirez hammers a ball, left field, and gone. Three-run bomb.
Marlins on Deck is brought to you by ADT, the official security partner of the Miami Marlins, and by Werner, Huffman, Gregg, and Garcia, official law firm of the Miami Marlins.
It's all down. I'm pissed off and ready to go.
Why do you get so pissed off?
I don't like hitters.
Let's head out to the ballpark. Here's your host, Steven Straub.
Trevor, welcome. We are live from Lone Depot Park in Miami on the best day on the baseball calendar, opening day 2026 on a 78-degree Friday night. There is just nothing like it, a brand new season full of hope and that feeling that anything can happen. The roof and the walls are open. The city of downtown Miami is right in front of our eyes. It is beautiful. You're listening to Miami Marlins baseball on the radio, AM 560 WQAM. It is game 1 of 162 as the Marlins franchise embarks on their 34th season in team history. It is the first Friday night opening day game in Lone Depot Park history, and just the 4th time the Marlins will kick off their season with a night game at home. We are pumped to bring you game 1 of this 3-game set between your Miami Marlins and the Colorado Rockies. Few things feel as certain as a new season beginning with Sandy Alcantara on the mound. The 30-year-old right-hander, former Cy Young Award winner, will make his franchise-leading 6th opening day start. Sandy will go opposite today, 32-year-old southpaw from Denver, Colorado, Kyle Freeland. He will make his 5th consecutive opening day start. That is also a franchise record for the Colorado Rockies. Tonight, we will get going at 7:10 right here on the Marlins Radio Network. Hi, everyone. Thanks for making Marlins on Deck a part of your Friday night with Jack McMullen and 4-time World Series champion Jeff Nelson. I am Steven Straub. We have a sensational show for you ahead, a deep and distinguished guest list. We will go the distance today. Again, we are starting here at 5:30. We will get going at 7:10. Let's get you the lineup for the show. We'll set the scene. We got some bites for you. We kind of want to rewind back to 2025. We have Peter Bendix, president of baseball operations. He will join Jack and I as well. We'll get you at the count with Kyle Freeland and Sandy Alcantara. Got some roster updates. We also have a lineup change. We will get Jack on in segment 5, and then we'll get to the player intros, our Expo question today, and of course, you know it's carrying over, Steve's guarantee to victory. Okay, so let's take a pause here and press rewind. Let's go back to 2025. First-year Marlins manager Clayton McCulley tallies 79 wins. It was a 17-win differential from the previous season. 39 comeback victories. They clawed their way back from 16 games under 500 to get back to 500. And organizationally, we saw some different philosophies that kind of made you believe these guys are on to something. Those live pitch designs that people critiqued first day of spring training. You had relievers coming out of the bullpen pitching multiple innings. Heck, we have a pitching coach that is calling balls and strikes, and all of a sudden you see the New York Mets are doing it. But let me remind you, today, March 27th, game 1, it all means absolutely nothing. The Marlins enter 2026 with one word that's frontal, and that is validation. How can the fish prove to the baseball world that last year wasn't fluky? Because you know that's all they're thinking, that there's actual substance to this process. And the big question, can Peter Bendix and company validate what was a ginormous step in the right direction? Now, we're talking about last year. Let's get to this year. Miami possesses things they didn't have a year ago. A young core to build around, Yuri Perez, Augustin Ramirez, Jacob Marcy. They've got a blueprint. Pitch first, defend at a high level, run, be offensively opportunistic. And that's a blueprint that Connor Norby and Liam Hicks believe will carry over.
Obviously, it's a very familiar group. We're bringing back pretty much everybody. We added some new pieces that are going to help us win. And I don't think the identity changes. Like, we're the fighting fish. We're never out of it. We play for each other. We care a lot about one another. And I think that's just, if the more we embody that, the closer we get as a team, it's only going to help us down the stretch. Skip talked about it today, but it's what's going to help you get out of those tough times faster. And last year we saw both ends of the spectrum where you're the hottest team in baseball and you are also going through it at times. And that's part of the grind. But yeah, I think the quicker we get as close as we can, as close as we were last year and more, it's only going to help us.
I think it's just buying into the team culture. I think they brought in a lot of guys that have the same mindset. And I I think we got a lot of good guys in our clubhouse now that are kind of leaders and can continue over the success from last year into this year. We're going to be a team that a lot of people don't like to face, going to always put pressure on the bases, never out of the game, not going to roll over. So I think that's kind of what we want our identity to be.
All right, well, that was Liam Hicks and Connor Norby. Connor Norby in the lineup. He will play first base tonight. And Norby, if you believe that spring results are any indication that you're in for a big year, Connor Norby, 13 hits, was awesome during the month of spring, and we shall see if he can carry it over. Okay, so we talked about the momentum, the identity, and the momentum, it speaks for itself. This is a team that went 13-4 in their last 17 games. We know the last game of the year, they knocked the Mets out of the postseason. So now they're covered with the warning label when they come to town. But most importantly, what this team has that they didn't have last year was direction. And Peter Bendix, we'll hear from later in the program, told us day one of his press conference that he's going to build a team that's going to compete for championships every single year. However, in order to do it, the infrastructure, the development, and decision-making, they have to be strong and they have to be diligent. Here's the exact quote on sustainability when he was introduced again in 2024. Quote, "The way this happens is by keeping an eye on what our end goal is, of building that organization into a place where we can be successful year in and year out, and knowing that it takes decisions that are meant to pay off in the long term to get there." That direction has resulted in appetizing trades and those clever waiver wires where everyone on X and Twitter is saying Bendix got him again. And there's finally trust within the fan base. And let me remind you of some of those trades. Luis Arraez, which we couldn't believe in May of 2024. How can you trade Luis Arraez? That equals Jacob Marcy, who will start today in center field. Dylan Head and Nathan Martorell, who are promising prospects. Arraez now in San Francisco. Marcy again in the starting lineup today. Peter actually made 8 trades that year, 6 on the deadline alone. And you look at this roster, they're filled with all of them. Augustin Ramirez, Kyle Stowers, who is out for 3 to 4 weeks with that hamstring, but we know the All-Star had an incredible year last year. Connor Norby, Robbie Snelling, who we can see at some point, Graham Paul. You get my point here, folks. There's direction, there's momentum, and you've got a guy in control that is able to identify talent and make waiver claims like Otto Lopez, who has turned into one of the best defensive shortstops in all of baseball, and Ronnie Enriquez. I mean, they're going to miss him a lot this year, but Ronnie Enriquez came on the scene and put out a ton of fires for the Miami Marlins. With that being said, it all comes with some questions that they can't hide from. And every team has questions, by the way. If you're the Dodgers, if you're the Yankees, if you're the Marlins, you all have questions coming into the year. And I wanted to lay them out for everyone. First of all, how can the Fish fend for themselves without Kyle Stowers, who they did play without the final month of the season? Number 2, can Max Meyer be a durable starter? He started 23 games in the last 2 full seasons. What's Owen Casey? He had 22 home runs in the minor leagues coming from the Cubs. Marlins traded him for Edward Cabrera. What does a full season of Jacob Marcy look like? It was great, but it was 55 games. And how much will Edward Cabrera be missed? A guy that was a 3-WAR player. Like with any team, there's mysteries. But all of a sudden, these questions actually mean something. Like there's urgency here in Miami. Urgency. The same word Clayton McCullough gave to me back in February during FanFest.
The word that jumped out for me and I thought about a lot this offseason was urgency, with where we feel like the strides we made last year, that this year is going to be more difficult, and not look too far ahead into the calendar is going to be important, but that we know that while we're very proud of a lot of the work that was done last year, we have a lot left. And so while we were disappointed that we ended up ultimately coming up short with a chance to play in the postseason, I think let's take a step back and look at the outset of even the offseason leading into the year, what we were hoping organizationally to try to put in place. I think we felt much better when the season ended than where we were, and a lot of confidence and a lot of the processes we put in place, the level of our infrastructure had improved. And from a team aspect, we felt that guys took a lot of strides, and how important the offseason was going to be with our group. Because there's no guarantee that guys will repeat performances or do better. So it was as much, now that everyone knows each other and there's the familiarity, to really dive in on staying on top of our guys and push them to have as great an offseason as they could have.
It's year 3 for Peter Bendix. It's year 2 from that man, Clayton McCullough. The Marlins are no longer going to sneak up on teams, and it's time to figure out what's real and what's not, who's in for the long term, and who is not. Still to come, a ton more. We got some more Clubhouse sound. Clayton McCullough, he will hop on as well. But first, we will hear from Peter Bendix, Marlins president of baseball operations. We will explore a plethora of topics. We're playing baseball at 7:10. A lot more on the Marlins Radio Network.
Norby hammers high in the sky, out to left, no doubt about it. And
step up to the plate with Terminix, the leader in pest protection for almost 100 years. We don't just hit home runs against termites. Since 1927, Terminix has defended homes and businesses nationwide from all kinds of pest curveballs. Trust Terminix to protect what matters most. Visit Terminix.com/Marlins to learn more. Because no one strikes out termites and pests like Terminix.
South Florida's top choice for quality signs and graphics is Metro Group Miami. With Metro signs and Metro wraps, no job is too big or too small for the experts at Metro Group Miami. A proud corporate partner and official signage and graphics provider of the Miami Marlins, they bring brands to life. Call them today at 954-983-6662. Visit MetroGroupMiami.com to discover what they can do for you. Metro Group Miami, signs, graphics, car wraps. They're your everything team.
At Loan Depot, we're big on home. Home games, home teams, home field advantage, and you better believe it, home runs. For us, home means everything, which is why we're offering more options that make buying your first home easier and more affordable. No matter where you are on your home ownership journey, round the corner to LoanDepot.com and let us help get you home. That's LoanDepot.com. We're on deck ready to hit it out of the home ownership park for you. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLC ID number 174475.
Out here, if you're doing nothing, you're doing everything right. Though on a cruise with Norwegian, even if you're doing nothing, you're still basking in the warm sun, enjoying the peaceful ocean waves. You're breathing. Don't forget about breathing. Definitely need to be breathing. So you get to do nothing or everything, but you still need to be breathing. It's like really important.
Experience the difference with cruises to Alaska, the Caribbean, and Europe. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line ships registry, the Bahamas, and USA.
Welcome back here to Marlins on Deck as we get you ready for opening day 2026. Very fortunate to be joined by Marlins President of Baseball Operations Peter Bendix, Stephen Strom, Jack McMullen. I spoke with Clayton during FanFest and I said, give me a word. You told me optimism in 25. He told me urgency in 26. What's your word for 2026?
Since he took urgency, which I think is a great word, I'm going to go with excitement. Just to see all of the things that we've been able to build over the last couple of years, to build on what happened in 2025, the way we ended the season, the amount of talent that we have in the entire organization, the amount of talent we have on display here with our Major League team, just exciting.
Peter, you have built so many things. What are you most excited about that the Marlins have built and cultivated over the last 365 days?
Probably the depth of talent that we have really throughout the entire organization. The fact that if we have injuries, we have a next man up that is a really good player that has a chance to show what he can do. The fact that we have a AAA roster filled with guys who are top prospects that we think can help the team sooner rather than later. And the fact that we're developing these waves of talent at all levels so that we can always have talent coming up to the big leagues.
I made this point, I think a couple of weeks ago. I said, I think for the first time, the fan base is really starting to trust you and this brass. Do you feel that?
You know, I think trust is something that's earned over a long period of time. I hope that the fans can begin to see what it is that we're trying to build and how we're trying to do that, and understand that it's not always a linear progression, but the trust needs to come over years and years of us putting a product on the field that people can believe in.
And the proof would always be in the pudding. And we saw plenty of guys make a very delicious pudding. That sounds a little weird, but Jacob Marcy, you know what? He's one of those guys that had an incredible 2 months. Heriberto Hernandez, he shined in a way that I feel like the fan base was not expecting. Is there anybody in particular that you look at this roster and say, I think they can really shine this year?
There's a lot of them. And I think that's the idea, is that we have guys, a lot of different guys who are very talented. And our mantra is that player development does not stop at the major league level. So we're going to give these guys an opportunity to get better, an opportunity to play, an opportunity to maybe surprise us. But I'm not sure we'll be that surprised anymore.
All right, one guy stole the show last year was Kyle Stowers. We will be without Kyle Stowers today and for a couple of weeks. Who's a guy that you're looking at right now? Who can be our Stowers, our breakout guy in 2026?
You know, I really do think there's multiple guys. I think if you look at someone like Owen Casey, I think there's a lot of similarities to what Kyle does well. Owen does well as well. And Owen needs an opportunity to play and show and make adjustments at the major league level. But his power is phenomenal. He's a good defender. He's very young. He's got a lot of just really positive ingredients.
Peter, I want to take you to the pitching side because there were some additions over the course of the offseason, right? We saw 2 marquee bullpen arms in Fairbanks and King come in. Saw Paddock come in. Starts with Sandy and Yuri, obviously. What jumps out in particular about the pitching staff that you guys have assembled?
I feel like I'm a broken record, but it really is true. The amount of depth that we have, the amount of high-quality pitchers at all different levels at the Major League and AAA, and the rotation and the bullpen. I'm very excited to see what these guys can do. We also know pitchers get hurt. Things unexpectedly happen, and the guys that we have waiting in AAA are as good as any teams in baseball.
What kind of a year should fans expect from Sandy Alcantara?
I am incredibly optimistic about Sandy. I think what we saw at the beginning of last year was rust, was the fact that this guy missed an entire year and then was not able to get back into a game until the following spring training. And we saw him shake off this rust, and he had to do it every 5th day on a major league field. That's really hard to do. It wasn't a rehab assignment. It wasn't the off season. It was every day trying to win. And then you saw it happen. The second half of the year,
starts,
you saw it happen, and then he's continued it this year. He's added a sweeper, that's another weapon. His changeup is playing better than before. He really looks like vintage Sandy.
Peter, last one from me. Obviously, we get it going tonight. Jacksonville gets it going tonight as well on Friday night, but you've got Pensacola getting going next week. Beloit, Jupiter, same deal in the complexes. What do you believe Marlins baseball should be and should look like from Major League Baseball to the Dominican Summer League?
Marlins baseball is about innovation. It's about thinking ahead. It's about being a good teammate. It's about winning. Cool. I'm excited to see all of those things this year.
Some of the, successful 2026 people will look at the wins. I know that's not how everyone looks at it. Just give me some things that you're hoping to answer here in 2026. Say this was a successful year for us.
I want our players to keep getting better. Truly. I want each guy, it doesn't matter whether it's Kyle Stowers or Sandy Alcantara or the 26th guy on the roster. If we push them and put them in a position to get better, we will continue to have the results that we want to have.
Thank you so much for the time, Peter. We really appreciate it. We
Thanks,
will
guys.
break. We'll get you out of the count. Sandy Alcantara and Kyle Freeland, 7:10 first pitch. It's Marlins opening day on the Marlins Radio Network.
Step up to the plate with Terminix.
Upgrade your family vacation with an unforgettable escape to the Palm Beaches. From outdoor adventures and laid-back beaches to thrilling family attractions and animal encounters, the Palm Beaches have something for everyone. Discover premier resorts with creative kids clubs that will keep the little ones entertained while you enjoy world-class golf and spas. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches. Plan your trip at thepalmbeaches.com.
Out here, if you're doing nothing, you're doing everything right. Though on a cruise with Norwegian, even if you're doing nothing, you're still basking in the warm sun, enjoying the peaceful ocean waves. You're breathing. Don't forget about breathing. Definitely need to be breathing. So you get to do nothing or everything, but you still need to be breathing. It's really important.
Experience the difference with cruises to Alaska, the Caribbean, and Europe. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line ships registry with Bahamas and USA.
I'm Adam Werner. As the official law firm of the Miami Marlins, Werner, Hoffman, Gregg & Garcia fights for our clients the same way the Marlins fight on the field, relentlessly and with a winning strategy. Our team represents clients in personal injury, workers' compensation, veterans disability, bankruptcy, and Social Security cases. From our home office in Miami, Florida, we provide powerhouse legal representation built on dedication, experience, and results. If you need a team that's ready to step up to the plate for you, visit WernerHoffman.com. Werner, Hoffman, and Gregg & Garcia, proudly serving the 305 community.
Springfest is happening now at Lowe's. Keep the spotlight on your yard with Stay Green Premium 2 cubic foot mulch, 5 bags for $10. Plus, when you want more help indoors, get up to 40% off select major appliances that help you supercharge your chores. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid to 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
This is
Owen Casey, and you listen to Marlins on Deck. Steven Strom on 104.3 WQAM.
right, folks, welcome back here to opening day 2026 on a Friday afternoon. Steven Strom, Jack McMullen, and Jeff Nelson is game 1 of 3 against the Colorado Rockies. We are here for the next 6 games. We'll welcome in the Chicago White Sox on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Am I allowed to call it a revenge series against the Colorado Rockies? So I was thinking this. The Rockies came to Miami last June, okay? The Rockies were 9-50, and they swept the Marlins. That was like the wake-up call that the Marlins needed. They got to 16 under. They worked their way back, and we obviously know how they finished, 79 wins, and so much momentum here going into 2026. Sandy Alcantara and Kyle Freeland. We'll get you out of the count in just a couple of minutes here, but I do want to go over some of the lineup changes here. So Christopher Morel was supposed to play first base today. He has been scratched. Connor Norby now will move to play first base. And Owen Casey, who, ironically, you just heard, great job, Trevor Harris, back in the studio giving me the rejoin of Casey. We're going to get to see Owen Casey here for the first time in a Marlins uniform in an actual game, not a spring training game. Again, we actually didn't see a ton of Owen Casey. He was in the WBC for Team Canada, went 7 for 17. So that's a lineup change. Christopher Morel out, Owen Casey in. Connor Norby, who has played just a couple of games in spring training at first base, will get the call over there. Some other roster transactions. Austin Slater, obviously he was signed with the Marlins. He's going to lead off today. Maximo Acosta placed on the 10-day IL. Adam Major on the 60-day IL. Esteury Ruiz on the 10-day IL. Kyle Stowers on the 10-day IL. We will try to get you some bites on Kyle Stowers throughout the game. He's nursing that hamstring injury. So we shall see how long it takes for Kyle to get back. But the task at hand today, so fired up to bring you Marlins baseball again on WQAM. We are so excited for the partnership. We were on a couple of local programs, Brendan Tobin and Leroy. I know Jack was on Mark Hockman and Crowder and Solana. So we are so excited to bring you Marlins baseball on WQAM. And no better way to do it with Game 1 and Sandy Alcantara on the hill. So let's be polite here. We'll go with the visitors first. Kyle Freeland, who is actually in his 10th season with the Colorado Rockies, 32-year-old southpaw. He's living a dream. He's from Denver, Colorado. He was drafted by the Rockies in 2014. He debuted in 2017. And like Sandy, he's breaking some franchise records. This is now his 5th consecutive opening day start. Kyle Freeland, what does it mean to get the ball yet again?
Yeah, it's extremely special to be able to be named the starting or the opening day starter once again for the 5th time with the same organization. And I take it with a lot of honor. It's very humbling to be able to know that I've been doing this for this long and been able to set this kind of record with this club. I'm excited for the start. Can't wait to do it in Miami again and come out with a win. The entire Rockies team is going to look a lot different of how we're playing ball, how we're attacking, and how we're doing our thing on the field. But me personally, not a lot is going to change. I'm still going to have that bulldog mentality out there, game 1 from the jump, and get things going.
You got to respect Kyle Freeland and the career that he's had. And this is a Rockies team that has gone through it. Last year, 43 and 119. Warren Schaefer took over. And anytime you take over as a bench coach, and it's a 43 and 119 season, you've got to make major changes. The Rockies did. They did a ton of front office maneuvering. And for Warren Schaefer to be able to give the ball to Kyle Freeland, but also bring in some competition too, Jose Quintana in, Michael Lorenzen also added to the Colorado Rockies. It's an uncomfortable situation for managers to come into, and you look around and look, sometimes when you win 43 games, you can really strip everything and bring in new guys. But it's always nice for a young manager to have someone like Kyle Freeland, who has, again, been drafted by the Rockies in 2014, debuted in 2017. So for Schaefer, Kyle Freeland, he earned this. And here was Schaefer earlier on what it meant to have someone like Freeland in, again, this is going to be his first full year as manager, but just to have someone that's a culture guy in that clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Anytime you can get a veteran on board with a lot of change that you're trying to make, it's been really good. And to everyone else, Quintana's been fantastic. The time that Sugano's been here, he's been fantastic. Michael Lorenzen, same thing. Willie Castro, all these guys that are veterans that we brought in have all been on board with everything we're trying to do here. So it's good for Kyle to get that 5th opening day start. it wasn't a lock. There were some thoughts that, I mean, Quintana's been pitching a long time. But he was really happy. When I talked to Q in here this morning, he was really happy for Free. It's a big deal. It's good stuff. It's a good thing.
And Freeland, this isn't the first time he's going to start an opening day against the Marlins. He allowed 1 run on 2 hits over 7 frames in 2019, beat the Marlins. Okay, so let's kind of bring it all together for Kyle Freeland. There's a lot of similarities between just Freeland and Sandy and the time they have spent in the same organization, so they have now put themselves in a position to be a franchise leader. Freeland is the all-time leader in starts, 231, innings pitched, 1,260, and he is third all-time in Ks with 944. Freeland last year, 5-17, a 4.98 ERA over 31 starts, 162 and 2/3 innings pitched. 3 starts in the spring for Kyle Freeland, 9 innings, 8 hits, 1 run, 8 punch-outs, and 4 walks. Big thing for Kyle Freeland is, number one, he is working with a completely new staff, and we know that guy, Alon Leishman, who did great things for the Miami Marlins last year, worked with Sandy, worked with Yuri, worked with a lot of the pitchers, and a lot of the bullpen guys ended up having career years, Ronnie Enriquez, Tyler Phillips. All of a sudden, Alon Leishman is now on the other side. He will get to work with Kyle Freeland, who will feature a 4-seamer, a knuckle curve, a cutter, a sweeper, a sinker, and a changeup. Kyle Freeland last year struggled against guys from the right side. That is why we're going to get a right-handed heavy lineup for the Miami Marlins, starting with Austin Slater, and then Agustin Ramirez, Otto Lopez, Connor Norby, Heriberto Hernandez, Xavier Edwards, and Javier Sanoja. From the right side, righties hit Kyle Freeland at a 300 average with an 800 OPS, and that is the reason why Clayton McCullough has rolled out a very right-handed heavy lineup for the Marlins here tonight. Let's get to Sandy Alcantara, 30-year-old right-hander, former Cy Young Award winner in season 9 and 8 with the Miami Marlins. He will make his 6th consecutive opening day start. 2025, we'll get into it and we'll break it down. 31 starts, 5.36 ERA, 174 and 2/3 innings pitched, 142 Ks to 57 walks. However, the last 8 starts for Sandy, a 2.68 ERA. Let's kind of set the scene here, and I've said this and we've talked about it with Sandy Alcantara. Last year, he's coming off Tommy John, which in itself is a massive mountain to climb. Number 2, he had worked with Mel Stoudemire Jr. for years. He was the guy that led him to a Cy Young Award winner. He had to work with an entirely different pitching staff, philosophies. He also, whether you think it matters or not, had to work with a different battery mate, actually multiple. Nick Fortes, Liam Hicks, Agustin Ramirez. If you remember, Sandy was caught by Jacob Stallings exclusively. Now that has obviously changed. All of that, Sandy continued to work, and let me tell you something. When you got a 5 ERA and you continue to post, there's a lot of guys that would have done that phantom IL and they end up, my shoulder. Sandy took the ball every 5th day, and it meant a lot to that clubhouse. We have heard Clayton McCullough articulate about that and expand that, like, hey, our young guys saw Sandy Alcantara, a Cy Young Award winner who has so much cachet in that clubhouse, struggle. And what did he do? He still took the ball. He still took the ball every 5th day, and there were times where it was rough and he was getting beat around. But to see him finish the way he did, it's got to be incredibly encouraging. And I do want to talk to Jack McMullen about that in segment 5 on some of the tweaks and changes that he has made that, we can get really excited and giddy about Sandy here. Even at 30 years old, this is a guy that can come back and have a killer season. The new toy that he found in the offseason was a sweeper, something to throw away from righties. Sandy Alcantara has been known for what? The sinker and the changeup. If he can somehow, some way make this a pitch that guys have to at least respect, I think you're going to see an expanded arsenal that's going to lead to really encouraging results for Sandy Alcantara. Again, 6th opening day start for Sandy. Here was Sandy a couple of days ago on what it means to make his 6th consecutive start for the Marlins.
Another great opportunity for me, So, like I always say, I always feel blessed about God giving me this opportunity to step out of my bed, and come here and play baseball. So yeah, great opportunity for me. 6th time opening day for the Marlins. You hit the center I can't even remember the first day when I came here. Just fighting for a spot, and now top 6th time opening day starter for the Marlins it's always mean a lot to me, so that's the day that you will never forget, so that's the day that where the fan just show up, so I think you got to be ready. You gotta show them that you can be the opening day all the time.
So fired up to see Sandy Alcantara. And before we proceed, let's allow stations to identify themselves. This is the Marlins Radio Network.
Marlins baseball on WQAM AM Miami and Odyssey Sports Station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
Same way we look at Sandy Alcantara with the franchise record, and he is staring it right in the face right now. Sandy is 81 Ks away from being the all-time franchise leader. He is 29 starts away from being the all-time starts leader and 159 innings away from being the all-time leader in innings pitched in Marlins franchise history. You say Marlins and you think Sandy Alcantara, and here it is. I think this is, look, 29 starts, he's done that. 81 Ks, he'll do in a cakewalk. 159 innings pitched. You would assume that coming back here. So really exciting year for Sandy Alcantara. His spring, 4 starts, 12 2/3 innings pitched, 10 hits, 8 runs, 16 punch outs to 2 walks. Remember, Sandy did participate in the WBC. We will break here. Coming up next, Jack McMullen sits down with the manager, Clayton McCullough. They will explore a couple of different things, some feelings headed into season 2 for Clayton, maximizing these last 4 days because the Marlins have not played since Sunday afternoon. We also will talk Kyle Freeland and Austin Slater, who will be at the top of the lineup. It is the Marlins. It is the Rockies. We're playing baseball at 7:10. Back with more on the Marlins Radio Network.
Legal battles shouldn't be fought alone, especially when your health, finances, or family's future are on the line. I'm Adam Werner. At Werner, Hoffman, Gregg, and Garcia, we guide our neighbors across the Miami, Florida community through some of life's most difficult legal transitions, from injury cases to disability cases, bankruptcy, and more. Our team is committed to providing clear guidance, strong advocacy, and dependable support every step of the way. Let our family help lead the fight so you can focus on yours. Werner, Hoffman, Gregg, and Garcia, official law firm of the Miami Marlins.
Mikasuki Casino and Resort is your place in Miami to live it up and play on. Unleash the excitement of slots, high-stakes bingo, and 24/7 poker action. Indulge in exquisite dining at La Brisa and handcrafted cocktails at Tempt Lounge. Unwind in our elegant rooms and suites as you elevate your entertainment around the clock. And check out our new Little Trail Casino on I-75, exit 49. Rediscover Mikasuki Casino and Resort, voted best casino in Miami. Visit Mikasuki.com for more.
Everyone knows BrandSmart USA as the heavy hitters, like big screen TVs and appliances, but our lineup is way deeper than you think. We've got mattresses, furniture, and grills for the cookout, plus everything from fitness equipment, vacuums, AC units, the latest tech, and more to keep your home running like a pro. We make life easier with fast delivery, professional installation, haul away, and our own in-house repair centers. All at the lowest price with 0% interest financing and buy now, pay later options. BrandSmart USA, favorite brands, lowest prices guaranteed.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
This is Jacob Marcy, and you're listening to Marlins on Deck with Steven Strom on 104.3 WQAM.
Man, I'm fired up to see what Jacob Marcy has in store. We saw 55 games from him, and he lit the world on fire. He is in the lineup today. Hoping to see Jacob Marcy have just a killer season. Steven Strom here, Jack McMullen, and Jeff Nelson. AM 560 WQAM. We'll let you know the scheduling. We're going to be on the FM side. We'll be on the AM side, but we will be on the radio. So excited for the partnership with WQAM and had a lot of fun today just jumping on some local local programming, local sports. That's my thing. I mean, I'm from New York, listening to the Fan. That was always such an important part of my life. So it has been awesome to jump on and be able to go back and forth with all the great hosts at WQAM. Kyle Freeland will go opposite today, Sandy Alcantara. And we have a ton more to get into. We got Steve's guarantee. I gave you the roster moves. There was one change in the lineup today. Connor Norby will no longer DH. He will play first base. He will take the spot of Christopher Morel, who was scratched today. Owen Casey will be inserted in the lineup. But let's talk Clayton McCullough here before we get to the interview that our radio voice of the Miami Marlins did, Jack McMullen. Clayton McCullough, man, what an interesting year he had. He had come into a situation where the Marlins had won just 62 games in 2024. He was coming off the high of winning a World Series championship with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He helped Shohei do the 50 and 50. He was one of the whisperers for the Los Angeles Dodgers with being able to steal bases at a very efficient level. Clayton McCullough came into last season rather, with guys that really had never played in the big leagues before. He also had a staff that didn't really have the jobs in the big leagues before. The way he has conducted himself, the way he has led this team, you feel pretty confident about Clayton McCullough in that manager chair for the next couple of seasons. And it's now a prove-it year. Last year, when the expectation is so low, I think it's a lot easier to exceed those, right? Like you look at a team like Colorado, you maybe look at a team like Washington that had tough 2025s. A lot of times the bar is so low, you just overachieve. The Marlins did that and a little bit more. They also were able to find their young core. They were also able to figure out some of the philosophies that they were doing actually became tangible, and it worked. Now you enter the year in 2026 where you won 79 games. You've got Kyle Stowers, who made the All-Star team. You've got a freak in Yuri Perez. You've got a Cy Young Award winner in Sandy Alcantara. You also have some pretty decent players in Jacob Marcy that came on the scene. You've got a guy in Connor Norby that's chomping at the bit to bounce back. Xavier Edwards, oh, by the way, who's hitting eighth tonight. Xavier Edwards is a 300 hitter. I mean, you give him 500 ABs. This guy's a 300 hitter. Now you've got expectations. And you know what that means. If you don't win, all of a sudden we don't care what you do. It's a validation year for Clayton McCullough, and it's a validation year for the Marlins in general. 79 wins last year, now an opportunity to take another step in the right direction. It doesn't necessarily mean, wins. It doesn't need 80 wins successful year, 78 not a successful year. You got to figure out some answers to some of the big questions moving forward. These aren't free agent one-year deals where you can say, it didn't work, move on. No, these are guys that are under team control, and also you've got a deep and stacked minor league system where if they don't work, okay, fine, next man up. And that is what Peter Bendix and company has built here, and that is ultimately the goal of long-term sustainable success. You've got to draft, you've got to develop, and you have to have a plethora of talent in your minor league system. Let's get to it now. Our very own Jack McMullen sat down with Clayton McCullough yesterday to talk about what it's like going into season 2 and how they have maximized the last couple of days with no games since Sunday.
All right, thank you, Steven. We're right back in the saddle here. Clayton, opening day. We're here. I'm sure the butterflies are a little different than they were last year. And I know you've been asked this question a lot, but as you gear up for opening day number 2 as the manager of the Miami Marlins, what is different from year 1?
That is year 2. And my level of excitement, Jack, is just the same. I mean, it is. It's opening day. Here at home, Sandy on the mound. Couldn't be more excited to get year 2 going, and I think there'll be a lot of things that now become more natural and feel more natural this opening day compared to last year. But it certainly doesn't dim the excitement and the butterflies you get on this day.
Really, only the All-Star break is when you get 4 days off without playing a Major League Baseball game. But you guys have had 4 days off. You've obviously tried to stay kind of up to speed with the inter-squad scrimmages. How do you feel like you maximized the last 4 days?
We tried as best we could to. On Tuesday, we played like 5.5 innings. We had, basically able to fill out 2 teams and play that as realistic as we could. I mean, it's not the same, but guys get their at-bats, get their innings defensively. Yesterday, guys were able to get some more plate appearances and to get a few innings in the field. Today, on Wednesday, it was a little bit lighter, just final tune-up. So we tried as best we could, more about guys getting some plate appearances to keep themselves in rhythm, as well as getting a few more opportunities on their feet before we start.
We talked about easiest decision of the spring. Sandy Alcantara is your opening day starter against the Rockies tonight. I'm not going to ask you how easy it was, but I will ask you, what are you looking for from Sandy tonight against this Rockies offense that has a little bit different look than when you saw him last year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, more about, Sandy than I think the Rockies team or whoever else he faces. It's going to be his ability to execute and, especially, drive the ball, through the catcher. He's worked really hard on improving his, breaking stuff, some of his secondaries, the two seam and changeups still be really big weapons for him, but also now giving him something that he can, get ahead with people with some spin, the ability, something with right-handed hitters to move away from them. I think it's going to be big. And with the lefties, it's, his ability to keep the ball on the plate and keep himself in count leverage.
You guys are seeing a lefty on opening day. It's kind of a unique challenge. And obviously you may not put out the opening day lineup that you envisioned last October or November when you might have thought about it for the first time. How much do you factor in this being opening day and putting your best foot forward as opposed to, hey, let's play the platoon, let's play the hand in this matchup here?
Yeah, I think look at this, every game is important. And, today having the chance to put out there what I think is our best lineup to try to, beat Kyle Freeland and, give us some, what I feel like are some really good options and abilities to maneuver throughout the game with those that we have not starting today. So, a lot about what I felt tonight, the best way to optimize to beat Kyle Freeland and put that lineup out there. And, I think each day will be very much in a similar vein. And a lot of that just depends on performance and, the health of guys and what the calendar and opponent is.
We saw tons early last year, so many guys coming off the bench, and we saw guys come in a pinch hit, plate appearance, or a defensive replacement as soon as the 5th or 6th inning in the first month of last year. Do you feel like you've changed at all as a manager and as a game planner since then, or could we expect, 5th, 6th inning, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think throughout the course of the season, we'll still see us be aggressive at times to just go try to win that moment. And look, whether if we're up or down, somewhat kind of how those pinch hits may play out, and certainly you're factoring in the defense and maybe what the next at bat may look like and who that potentially could be against. So I think we'll continue to be aggressive with deploying our pinch hitters, and in games when we feel like we have people on the bench that can go be an upgrade defensively to win a game, we'll do that. And I think it boils down, Jack, for me, is each day, like, what's the best way to try to use the 26 that we currently have and find spots for them that I think, eventually allow them to have success. And for us as a team, give us a chance to win.
Clayton, last one for you. 26th and final piece of the puzzle was official a little bit earlier this week. Austin Slater as a tone setter. Is going to be really cool to see Slater make his Marlins debut in 26 at the top of your guys' lineup. What are you looking for Slater to add to this team?
Yeah, I've seen Austin play a lot, and I expect he takes a really high quality at bat versus left. I mean, it's something that he's done, at a very high level for a number of years, and someone, put him at the top to try to bank as many at bats against, tonight, Kyle Freeland, as I can get. And, if we need to, pivot during the game with another matchup, we will. But I think, having someone like Austin who has a real track record of performing versus left, and whether that's starting or coming off the bench, he's seen a lot of moments. He's, been on some really good teams. And so he'll be an additive for us, certainly on the field with what he's going to bring. But I think also his ability to talk through guys with approaches and, handling things throughout the season in preparation, he's going to be a good addition.
Clayton, really appreciate it. I know I don't need to tell you to enjoy it, but enjoy it, and best of luck tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Jack.
Awesome. Steven.
All right. Very good. Marlins manager Clayton McCullough with hello, Jack.
What's up?
How are you?
Happy opening day, man.
All right.
We're good.
Before we get into Clayton McCullough, so Jack and I won't give away complete locations. And welcome back, Marlins on Deck here, AM WQAM 560. Today's a big day. Today's opening day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And when you're Jack and I, we do almost every spring training game up in Jupiter. We go to West Palm. It's a fruitful experience, to say the least, but we are ready to go once opening day is here.
Yeah.
I live pretty close to the ballpark, and on days like today, it's a packed house. I don't want to drive. Jack picks me up. Very nice of him. I see Jack today, and he rolls down his window, and I got to be honest with you, I'm fired up. Like, I come out And I am like, let's go, like screaming. And I think he felt, okay, I got to match his energy. So Jack rolls down the window and he said, should we chest bump? I think because I was so fired up and hyped up, I didn't actually like compute in my brain that you were going to do it. So Jack parks on the side. Jack gets out of his car. I go, let's go, man. I start to take my right hand to like dab him up. Jack goes full chest bump and just nails me like with his shoulder. Jack, I didn't know you had good shoulders, man.
I do have good
you have good shoulders. I know you played soccer and baseball, but you could have been a linebacker. Jack puts a forearm shiver or a shoulder shiver right to my lip, and I'm like, yo, that hurt. I take a couple of tongue to the cheek. I'm like, I'm tasting some blood here.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really good way to start this season, Jack McMullen.
It was a bit of a tone setter. Now, my side of the story here.
Go ahead.
I roll up, I go window down, and I'm just clapping. I'm doing a big clap the whole time I roll up. And clearly there's some juice leading up to
Big
this.
juice. Like we're dialed.
There's a lot of juice leading up to this encounter. And, I roll down the window and I say, are we going to chest bump? Because the chest bump is the corniest possible thing you can do when you're amped up. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Our standard practice is the dap into hug.
Yes.
So I understand that you were going for standard, but I alerted you to a bit that I had internally, and I had just projected that bit. And
why was it the chest bump? Why did that
again?
come to
I
mind?
think it's the most corny, amped up thing we
Gotcha.
can do,
Okay.
and it was like a genuine amp up, right? Like if it was like, let's go, man, and it was just like this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like it was the best use of that positive, playful energy that we had there. So I was like, you know what? We're going to chest bump. And I get out, and at that point, it's just blatant commitment to the bit. So you know what? I would apologize for committing to the bit too hard, but unfortunately, no. I'm sorry that it happened, and I'm sorry that my shoulder met your lip.
You know what? It seems like the swelling has went down.
Good.
There's no blood coming here, but I'm ready to draw some blood with the Colorado Rockies, man.
No doubt.
That's Jack McMullen. I'm Steven Strom. Again, we're on AM 560 WQAM. This is Marlins on Deck. Sandy and Kyle Freeland. So you just talked to the skipper.
Yeah.
This is a big year for Clayton McCullough, and I had mentioned this before the interview, man. Like, if you're in the position of, I won't take the Rockies for this sake because the last time I talked smack, they got swept. But the Washington Nationals are in a very similar situation as the Marlins were last year, where it's a new coaching staff, it's new players, it's new philosophies, it's a new front office. And what comes with that, Jack, sometimes is the expectation, the bar is low. The Marlins bar, according to the public, was very low, and they broke it, 79 wins. They came all the way back from 16 under. They knocked the Mets out of the playoff. Last year was a successful season on a lot of different fronts. But year two, you know it's different, Jack.
Yep.
There's a different sort of expectation. It is now about validation. And I think for Clayton McCullough, even with our interview on FanFest, he said it with the word urgency.
Yeah, I 100% think so. And what's cool about this roster that the Marlins are fielding here on opening night and we get ready for Sandy and Kyle Freeland is there are so many guys on this roster that we're not saying, well, you got to prove it. We're saying, I mean, they kind of proved it last year. And I'm excited to see what year two looks like. Now, there are some guys that have to put 162 together for the very first time. And I would honestly say the overwhelming majority of guys on this roster need to put 162 together for the very first time. And as weird as it sounds, this is Yuri Perez's first opening day roster. This guy was hurt all of 24. He missed the front half of 25. He wasn't on the opening day roster in 23. So Yuri Perez is on his first opening day roster. What we have seen from this guy in his young career to this point has been stellar.
Yep.
But we haven't seen 162 from him. We haven't seen a 32 start season. Jacob Marcy, that guy was amazing last year. He was one of the best
games, though.
55 games, one of the best outfielders in Major League Baseball for the final 2 months of the season. 55 games. It's a heck of a lot different when it's 162. I'm excited to see all of these guys take on the challenge of 162 because we have near proven commodities. You got to do it across a whole year for the first time to become that proven commodity. And I have supreme confidence that a lot of those guys will do that.
I want to get into Sandy, but we got to save it for the next segment. Again, we have a ton more left here on Marlins on Deck. We have, of course, the pageantry of the player intros. It's one of my favorite things, Steve's Guarantee, as well. We do have some lineup changes, too. I'll reveal that coming up. But, you know, man, what I think is so imperative to a successful year this year is a good start. And I know that maybe is sometimes overplayed, but the Marlins getting off to a 3-1 start last year, I just felt like really gave them a blueprint and identity that they carried throughout the season. The way they came back against the Pirates, the big hits, the clutch defense, that's real. Now it's about carrying it over into the season. But against these two opponents, with all due respect, and the Rockies are going to be a lot better, I think, and so are the White Sox. I think it's a really important stretch for the Marlins, these first 6, to get out to a good start.
If we saw, this can be taken as a positive and a negative. I think we saw the Marlins match moments really, really well. I think we saw them play to teams' levels exceptionally well. And for the overwhelming majority of the time, right, the Marlins played to very good teams' level. Like when Philly came in here, when Atlanta came in here, and I know Atlanta struggled a little bit last year, but like the Mets and Yankees series were perfect examples of that. When they came into town, you win that series over the Mets to wrap up the season, and you sweep the Yankees at the beginning of August, right after the trade deadline. They can play to anyone's level and beat anyone in Major League Baseball. The problem was, it felt like, and it may have just been young team type of thing, but it felt like the Marlins played down to the Rocky level last year. It felt like they kind of played down to the White Sox level.
Yes.
Yeah, when they went to Chicago, they kind of played down to the White Sox level. So you want to avoid that hangover, honestly. And I think it's pretty easy when it's the first homestand of the year. You're just happy that baseball that matters is back. So I think that they are going to put opponent aside and game plan and focus on the Marlins. I honestly think it's the easiest to do that in the first month of the season.
That's Jack McCall. I'm Steven Strom. We'll break in just a sec. I do want to ask you one question because we have a lineup change.
Okay.
Connor Norby, who was originally supposed to DH, who's had a great spring, 13 hits, led this team in average, however much stock you put into that. He is going to play first base for the first time at the MLB level.
Yeah.
He played in the spring. It's exhibition games. Connor Norby will move to first base. Christopher Morel is going to be scratched. And Owen Casey is going to play against a left-handed pitcher in Kyle Freeland. Your thoughts?
Yeah, excited to see Casey's Marlins debut. It's not his major league debut. He's not hunting his first major league homer. He knocked out both of those with the Chicago Cubs at the end of last year before the trade, and the Marlins acquired him. But excited to see Casey's Marlins debut. Obviously, really unfortunate for another former Chicago Cub in Christopher Morel. I think I hate obliques. Is that fair to say? I hate them. Burning passion, hate them. I wish they were like hammates where you just don't need them. You can just get them removed. But, I mean, this is a really rough week and a half for the oblique muscle here. But, Morel, I'm really hoping that he is.
I was excited. I felt like he was going to have a big game today.
Me too.
He's a guy that he likes the shiny lights.
Me too. The other big thing is first base really was the biggest question in the lineup coming into this year, right? It was who's going to play first base, and they signed Morel, and that's your answer to play first base. But there were a whole bunch of guys learning first base for the first time, right? Norby learning first base for the first time. Griffin Conine learning first base for the first time. Liam Hicks learned it, not for the first time, but he learned it kind of en masse
on the
right
fly.
after the deadline last year, right? On the fly in July and August, and then played it a little bit in September. I bet we see a lot of Hicks at first moving forward if Morel is to miss time, but it's just unfortunate, like you go through the entire offseason saying new first baseman in the fold, and then new first baseman
and day one
is scratched just a couple hours before first pitch.
Yeah, again, he was healthy the entire spring. Okay, we will break here. Coming up next, that's it. I mean, we got Steve's Guarantee, we got player intros, we got the whole shebang. We are so excited here, live from Lone Depot Park. Roof is open. Jack, real quick, just look outside and look at downtown Miami. It's like sun splashed. It's a beautiful. It's just perfect.
This
for baseball.
is, to steal a line from Reggie Miller. I'm not sure if he's doing a tournament game tonight or not, but this is Lone Depot Park's Kodak moment. I mean, this is, take a photo of this and put it in your wallet forever. Because
well said.
This is beautiful. Right
well
now.
said. We will break coming up next. All of that and more. 7:10 first pitch. It's Marlins opening day 2026 on the Marlins Radio Network.
Legal battles shouldn't be fought alone, especially.
Step up to the plate with Terminix, the leader in pest protection for almost 100 years. We don't just hit home runs against termites. Since 1927, Terminix has defended homes and businesses nationwide from all kinds of pest curveballs. Trust Terminix to protect what matters most. Visit Terminix.com/Marlins to learn more. Because no one strikes out termites and pests like Terminix.
What if your instincts could pay off?
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your knowledge to work on the events that matter to you. Prediction Markets isn't just sports. It's the Fed rate decision, your favorite award show, and so much more beyond the playing field. Trade events with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Injured in a crash? You deserve Anajar and Levine. We stand up to the big insurance companies. They want you to settle for a fraction of what your case is worth, but we'll fight to get you the maximum money for your injuries. Experience the Anajar and Levine difference. Call me, Glenn Levine, at 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Fort Lauderdale. The Fighting Fish continue the action March 30th through April 1st for a 3-game series against the White Sox. And there's something for everyone all week. Monday, enjoy $1 kids tickets and treat your pup to a ball game with Bark at the Park, sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tuesday, honor our heroes during Salute and Serve Night, presented by Lone Depot. Then Wednesday, bring the whole family out for 4 for $44, presented by Pepsi. A ticket, food, and beverage deal for 4. 3 games packed with fun and Marlins baseball. Get your tickets now at marlins.com/tickets.
This is Jacob Marcy, and you're listening to Marlins on Deck with Steven Strom on 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back here to Lone Depot Park. This is Marlins on Deck. Thanks for hanging out with us here on opening day 2026. Marlins embark on their 34th season of baseball in the franchise's history. Jack McMullen, Jeff Nelson, Steven Strom here. We're fired up to bring you all 162, hopefully with a little bit of more. We are on AM 560 WQAM. Trevor Harris back in the studio, holding things down, hitting the ones and twos. We had mentioned before we went to break, the lineup change. Christopher Morel was scratched today. Connor Norby was originally supposed to DH. He has moved over to first, and Owen Casey in the lineup. Kyle Freeland will make his 5th consecutive opening day start, through against Miami actually on March 28th of 2019, and pitched really effectively, went 7 frames of 1-run ball. He will go opposite Sandy Alcantara today. Jack McMullen, 2nd season for you. We'll start with excitement level and how we're feeling here as we approach the marathon, man.
This is our happy place, man. And I know that you have, mentioned just how grateful you are to be doing what you do every single day. I would echo all of that. I'm living out a dream right now, and it is just so much fun to do it with you, to do it with all of our amazing analysts, and do it with this amazing franchise. So I'm just really, really lucky, and today's one of those days that I think you just feel so lucky and grateful for what's going on. And you know what? We got a ball game in 40 minutes to do, and man, am I fired up for that. It's just, I'm so excited to get back into the rhythm of baseball. Like, the cadence of baseball is what I fell in love with. The game is cool, but it's knowing that it's every single night on your radio, in your car, on your TV, however you may ingest this game. We're around. You're going to get sick of us in June, and then you're going to love us again in August. And then in September, you're going to say, thank goodness they're out of my lives. And then a month later, you're going to say, I kind of wish I was listening to baseball on the radio again. So I'm excited for that journey with everybody listening. I'm excited for that journey with everybody in the organization. And I'm just so grateful and lucky, and let's do it.
We are lucky to have you, Jack. We are lucky for AM 560 WQAM. We're excited for the future with them. And we're also very lucky to have Sandy Alcantara. Look, you look at the ERA, the 5 ERA, everyone knows it's not Sandy, right? And at the end of the season, you saw him the last, 8 starts at 2.68 ERA. Let me ask you here, we'll start here. Did you see any tangible adjustments from Sandy late in the season that stuck out, whether it was mechanically, pitch-wise, anything from that standpoint?
Yeah, so, the sweeper was like the big ticket thing that we were talking about, right? The sweeper, Sandy added a sweeper. He added a breaking ball. What is that going to look like? Sandy always had a breaking ball. It was always kind of a tighter turning slider cutter type deal, and then also a curve ball, but sinker changeup is Sandy Alcantara. Everybody outside of Miami, Florida, and outside of this organization thinks high-speed sinker, 92-mile-an-hour changeup, ground balls galore, 2022 Cy Young Award winner. Sandy felt like he needed to add a bigger breaking ball and a sweepier breaking ball. So, lo and behold, he adds a sweeper, a pitch that the Marlins have put in a lot of different guys and have been really successful in getting sweeper success out of them. With Sandy, his first couple of starts before he went to represent the Dominican Republic right here at Lone Depot Park in the World Baseball Classic, sweeper was totally a work in progress. And it was over the heart of the plate, and Brady House hit one 420 feet, and then he wasn't really located.
Yep.
And then he comes back. At his final 2 starts of spring training, that sweeper is starting to miss some bats, and he's starting to put it on the chalk of the other batter's box, and he's starting to go ball to strike and strike to ball with it. Honestly, I just watched this sweeper develop over the course of spring, and I was really impressed.
And you feel like it's in a good place?
I think it's in a game-ready place. Yeah, I think so, and it seems like the pitching crew thinks that it's in a game-ready place, and I'm excited to see just how many sweepers Sandy Alcantara throws. And sometimes they may be tagged as sliders. If it's about 82 to 84 miles an hour, and it looks like a big horizontal breaking ball, that's his sweeper.
Okay, the other element, and Sandy had like a whirlwind of a year last year. There's no question about it. But one thing in particular that you told me a couple of weeks ago was, Steven, go look at his splits on his first pitch of the AB.
Yeah.
They are alarming. Last year, Sandy, opponents on that first pitch, 403 on the batting average, over 1,000 OPS. What do you think was the reason for that? And is that something that simply needs to be, you got to be out of the zone? Because they preach getting ahead and count leverage, but how do you do it? Is it changing your pitch type, not getting into a sequence? How did you filter that through your head?
Yeah, I do think that it's kind of this hybrid of, well, you want to, like, strike one is really important. We measure strike one. Everybody measures first pitch strikes, and first pitch strikes are incredibly important. And a lot of guys, like, their priority is 0-1.
Yep.
That is the at-bat changer. And there's no denying that. When you're ahead 0-1 versus behind 1-0.
The average is dry. Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing how, like, that is a fork in the road right away. But to get ahead 0-1, you got to make a quality pitch. Honestly, I think 5 to 10 years ago, you could get away with cookies because guys were like, I just want to see one go through. Now it's not the case because they know that sometimes the first pitch of the at-bat and the first time you see that pitcher might be the only time you get to tag him. And we are in a home run-based game right now. So I do think that, you know, there's like a balance where you got to be along the perimeter of the strike zone. You got to be hitting corners with that first pitch. The cookie first pitch is kind of, sort of, teetering on being a thing of the past at this point.
Very good. Very good. That's Jack McMillan, Steven Strom here. Lone Depot Park, Marlins opening day 2026. We'll get to Frank Fernandez, who's doing the PA today for all the lineups. We're doing Marlins, Rocks I'm good on. We can talk about the Rockies, though, now because 43 and 119, Warren Schaefer takes over. But it is a different team. They went in a different direction with their front office. They went in a different direction with Bud Black. This is a different team, and they've got some interesting pieces, particularly in the bullpen, in the lineup. Jack, what can we expect from this year's Rockies team?
Honestly, you can envision a more forward-thinking Colorado Rockies. As weird as that sounds, this was one of the very few teams, or one of the last teams to add an R&D department, a research and development department. Like, they didn't really have an analytics department in Colorado for the longest time. And there was plenty written about that in The Athletic and Forbes and all those places. And, I really do think that they made that Paul DePodesta hire, who's the new president of baseball operations, to push forward. Paul DePodesta was the person that Jonah Hill's character in Moneyball was based around.
Wow.
So Peter Brand was based around Paul DePodesta. So this is a guy that is forward-thinking. He recently worked with the Cleveland Browns for a long time. So he makes the transition from the NFL to Major League Baseball, getting back to Major League Baseball.
It's wild.
And yes, he's a baseball guy, but he's also an analytics guy. And I do think that the Colorado Rockies are going to lean into this analytical forefront of baseball. And you started to see some roster transactions that made a lot of sense. Edouard Julien's going to DH for them tonight. Julien, when he's at his best, hits the ball incredibly hard, and he does not swing at balls. So how do you measure that? You measure O-swing, right? Chase rate. You measure 90th percentile exit velocity, contact, all the things that we think about that are analytically charged. They grab some data darlings. There are some data darlings in that bullpen. Victor Vodnik is someone that the data really loves. Juan Mejia, who was in the DR bullpen of the World Baseball Classic, is someone that the data really loves. So they grabbed a bunch of guys that I think they feel like can push them over the edge. There are 10 guys on this roster, 10 of the 26, that are going to be making their Rocky debut over the course of the weekend. So that was as big of an overhaul as we saw any organization make this offseason.
I promise I won't do the whole, what does this guy have to do on the mound today to have success? But I will pull that card for this one because, look, it's opening day. It all feels just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
With Sandy today, expectation, and how does he navigate this lineup?
I think he's got to keep the ball on the ground. There are a couple of guys in this lineup, and I'm looking down at the lineup card right now, that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. We saw Hunter Goodman beat the Marlins on several occasions last year. I don't like that
Him
guy
and Drake
anymore.
Baldwin.
Yeah, so Hunter Goodman is a guy that hit 31 homers last year. I do not want to see him beat the Marlins with the long ball. Ezekiel Tovar had a down year last year. He was injured, but Tovar hit 26 home runs in 2024. He's a young kid on an extension. I don't want to see Tovar beat the Marlins with a home run ball. I also don't want to see Edouard Julien. I don't want to see TJ Rumfield, the former Yankee minor leaguer. I do not want to see them hit homers. So for me, yes, gaining count leverage is important. Yes, I guess early outs, early contact, and filling up the strike zone is really important. But for me, keep the baseball on the ground and do not let them hit it out of the ballpark.
It's interesting. Warren Schaefer put out just 4 lefties today against Sandy Alcantara, the complete opposite of what we're seeing from the Marlins lineup. It's a righty-heavy lineup against Kyle Freeland.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we get through without our guy, our all-star, who is nursing a hamstring injury for 3 to 4 weeks?
Yeah.
How do we get through without Kyle Stowers and stay above water here for a month?
You play the platoon splits to the best of your abilities. Austin Slater mashes lefties. Austin Slater needs to mash lefties. Owen Casey mash righties. Liam Hicks, Griffin Conine, Graham Pauley mash righties. Norby, Sonoha, Heriberto mash lefties. You need to
matchup game. Yep.
You need to win the matchup game. You need to get there in the aggregate. You're not replacing 25 homers and a 900 OPS from Stowers for the first month of the season. You just can't. But you can have 3 guys try and get there in terms of the production. And I really do have confidence in these guys, and I have confidence in the Marlin coaching staff putting the right, lineups out there to beat really any opponent any given night.
Frank Fernandez on the horizon, Steve Guarantee as well. Austin Slater, 33-year-old, 9th season, played 27 games in right field, played 27 games in left field. He's a career 267 hitter against lefties with a 787 OPS. 10% walk rate career-wise, Jack. He seems just like the guy the Marlins just absolutely love. Played 65 games last year, 51 with the White Sox, 14 with the Yankees. But let's not sugarcoat this, Jack McMullen. Why is Austin Slater leading off for the Miami Marlins?
Yeah.
You're going to say, what are you going to say? Tell me.
Tone setter, but
Tone
also
setter.
tell me.
Tone setter? How about TNT? Tone setter, and I'll tell you.
Love.
11 for 38 against Kyle Freeland, which
There
is
we
a
go.
289 average, 3 doubles. The next guy on this Marlins team in this lineup that has anywhere near close to 38 ABs is Otto Lopez with 9.
Wow.
So 29 more ABs for someone in Austin Slater. That's the reason why Clayton McCullough penciled him in at the top of the lineup.
Yeah, man. Listen. Austin Slater was going to be brought in for a heck of a lot more than just beating Kyle Freeland on opening day, but that is a nice cherry on top of the sundae. I'm not sure anybody looked at the career splits against Kyle Freeland when they made the Austin Slater decision.
I'm dialed, though.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But it's also just like it's such an easy way to, I don't know, like make his way into the Marlins situation, hitting leadoff here. And I'm excited to see, like, literally the newest member of the Miami Marlins hit leadoff. And if you remember, there was a guy that was acquired after the Marlins broke camp last year, Tyler Phillips. Tyler Phillips, Mr. Slapper, he was a guy that didn't play a lick of spring training baseball in Jupiter at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. Slater did not. And you know what? Let's see if Slater is this year's Tyler Phillips. Why not, baby?
I'm with you. All right, let's do, and I want you to stay here, Jack, too, because I want to get your Jack's lock.
Okay.
But we're going to first call here for the segment that I've just always yearned to have this, Jack. It is Steve's Guarantee, and it's not just one guarantee today. I've got multiple. Let's get to it. It is time for Steve's Guarantees.
Almost time to play ball. First pitch coming up in moments. Steve's Guarantees coming up now.
So good.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
That's so good, man.
It's unbelievable. Before I get to my Steve's guarantees, when water, fire, or mold strike, trust the Marlins' number one choice, ServPro. From cleanup to construction, they work to make it like it never even happened, Jack McMullen. We just talked about him. Austin Slater, I got him leading off with a single today. That's my first one.
Cool.
I got him leading off with a single. I just think, look, I know we all look at how does Austin Slater have not even been here for 48 hours in the number one? Oh, I like him. That they know more than I do. I trust this Marlins organization. I like Austin Slater to not only hit a single, but hit a single in this first inning. Second thing I got for you, 6 punch outs for Sandy Alcantara.
Okay.
This was someone in Sandy that really struggled to punch guys out. And I think that also came into the whole situation with the first pitch splits. I like Sandy Alcantara, 6+ punch out. This is the Rockies team that struck out the second most in all of baseball. And you start to look at the splits for Sandy Alcantara. In that month of August, Sandy punched out 38 individuals in 6 starts. I like Sandy Alcantara to punch out 6 today. Jack McMullen.
Sandy Alcantara, I like to get a win today. But, Jack, nobody cares about decisions anymore. Nobody cares about wins and losses. I hear you. I like Sandy to be on the winning side of this. And when we give you the totals before the 10th inning show, I say the winning pitcher today, Sandy Alcantara, he is 1-0. Kyle Freeland is 0-1. I like, and there are a couple of different ways you can look at this. I like the Marlins to score early. I like them to score in the first 3 innings. And I like Sandy to shut it down across 5 or 6. So Sandy gets a win, Freeland gets a loss.
I'm getting chills early, Jack. Connor Norby, too, who is absolutely dialed. It's hard not to look at Connor Norby, as dialed as he was in spring training, to not give him an extra base hit today.
Ooh.
I love Connor Norby to have an extra base hit in our predictions podcast. I like Connor Norby to lead this team in doubles. I am bullish on Norby. I think he is in for a superb season. So we will go with Austin Slater, 11 for 38 career-wise against Kyle Freeland. He will hit a single in the first inning. We've got Sandy to punch 6 today. Again, Cade 38 in August, 23 in September. And then I'm going to go Connor Norby to hit a double today against the Rockies. All right, so we still got a couple of minutes left here. Frank Fernandez will take over. We're playing baseball at 7:10. But just, again, to set the scene, here we are. Let's reset. Marlins coming into this year in 2026 off of 79 wins. They're going to have to start the season without Kyle Stowers, who is nursing a right hamstring strain, the same one that got him in spring training. We look to Sandy Alcantara today, who will make his 6th consecutive opening day start. And again, he will go opposite Kyle Freeland today. Couple of storylines that I do, seasonal storylines that I think are important to mention. First one, can Agustin Ramirez play catcher?
Sure.
And can he be serviceable defensively? Because we know what he can do at the bat, but we saw the struggles last year defensively. A lot better in spring. There are other external things that I think will benefit him. The ABS, he's not going to have to worry about framing the ball. And the Marlins are calling pitches from the dugout, which is going to take, I think, a significant load off of Gus's plate.
Yeah.
I think the first question going into this year, Jack, is can Agustin Ramirez play catcher?
Yeah, and I think the answer is yes, and I really hope the answer is yes, obviously. But Agustin Ramirez, obviously, step number 1 is the catching, like the actual catching of the baseball, the receiving of the baseball. Step number 2 is the catch and throw for Agustin Ramirez, and I do believe that he has made strides in both of those, and we saw that at the end of the year, which is huge, I think. Agustin Ramirez last year, ran into a stretch in the early goings of the month of September where, there were balls that were kind of clanging off the side of his glove. And then, in the last week and a half, it seemed like he started to just receive the baseball, not think about it, not try to do anything, ground up. Like he was just, let me catch it. In spring training, it seemed like he was way more comfortable just receiving the baseball. And then in spring training, after the World Baseball Classic, this guy comes back and fires some BBs down to second base. So I'm really excited to see what this looks like for Agustin.
Second, can Max Meyer make 20-plus starts? And I guess take a step in the direction that this guy is someone that the Marlins can rely on. I know the organization feels very strongly about Max Meyer as a starter. We have seen some incredible glimpses last year, 14 punch-outs against the Cincinnati Reds. And then, I mean, he was arguably the Marlins' best pitcher for that first month, Jack McMullen, and he traditionally gets off to really good starts. The hip thing happens, and everything sort of fell apart. He gets hip surgery. Coming back this year, this feels like another massive, ginormous year for Max Meyer.
This guy punched out 14 last April. I'm really excited to see him start the year, but I'm more excited to see what he looks like in July and August. And when we get into the dog days of summertime, I want to see Max Meyer hit his best.
Yep.
Like, be the best version of Max Meyer when it feels like we're in the slog and we're at game 113 of 162. That is, I think, the last box that Max Meyer needs to check, because when that guy is on the mound, what he has done from a statistical standpoint has been that of a mid-rotation to borderline frontline starter, and he flashes frontline starter stuff. So excited to see what he can do across a full year.
You know, I said this in my monologue today, Jack, that for the first time, the Marlins have questions with answers that actually matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they actually, it's not guys that they just sign for one-year deals and it's like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, no, there's legitimate questions like every team has, and there's mysteries, but they actually matter because this team is heading in the right direction. This franchise is heading in the right direction. You win 79 games last year. You eliminate the Mets. You come back. You're 16 under at one point in the season. You come all the way back to get back to 500. There's legitimate momentum with questions that matter. Because let's just say, hey, Max Meyer, it doesn't work as a starter. Okay, we can move it to the bullpen. But I think in previous years, there was no option. It was always, all right, we're going to do this. If it doesn't work, we're going to go down. We were going to go down with the house burning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This time you look over and you're saying, there's Braxton Garrett. There's Robbie Snelling. Right. There's Thomas White. Right. There's Joe Mack. So these answers aren't doomsday. It's just, all right, we have this, and now we have to pivot from here. But the good news is, even if some of these questions go south, you feel really good about turning the other way and saying, all right, you're up. Let's go.
Yep. Can I tell you that's a mark of a really strong organization? It sounds like it might be Frank time, Steven.
Really? Oh, Here we go. All right, let's get to Frank here. We'll get Jack to bring up the PA. But we will throw here to our public address announcer, Frank Fernandez. Everyone getting introduced. The pageantry begins on Marlins opening day 2026.
And now, the starting lineup for your Miami Marlins. Led by manager Clayton McCullough. Leading off, the right fielder, number 15, Austin Slater. Batting second, the catcher, number 50, Agustin Ramirez. Batting third, the center fielder, number 87, Jacob Marcy. Batting cleanup, the shortstop, number 6, Otto Lopez. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 1, Connor Norby. Batting sixth, the left fielder, number 13, Heriberto Hernandez. Batting seventh, the second baseman, number 9, Xavier Edwards. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 17, Owen Casey. Batting ninth, the third baseman, number 8, Javier Sanoja. The starting pitcher for your Miami Marlins, warming up in the bullpen, number 22, Sandy Alcantara. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2026 Miami Marlins. Fans, at this time, we ask to please...
Out here, if you're doing nothing, you're doing everything right. Though on a cruise with Norwegian, even if you're doing nothing, you're still basking in the warm sun, enjoying the peaceful ocean waves. You're breathing. Don't forget about breathing. Definitely need to be breathing. So you get to do nothing or everything, but you still need to be breathing. It's like really important.
Experience the difference with cruises to Alaska, the Caribbean, and Europe. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line ships registry, the Bahamas, and USA.
ADT is the smart security partner of the Miami Marlins. When you're a customer, ADT is proud to be always there. There for every second, every day. There from the first pitch to the last inning. There for all the strikeouts and all the home runs. There for 150 years and counting. ADT spends all of their seconds helping protect all of yours. So when every second counts, count on ADT. Visit ADT.com/Marlins or call 1-800-750-0647 today. For license information, visit ADT.com/licenses.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X, outsmart the elements.
Here's the pitch, and it's cut on and missed. Sandy is fired up.